everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I would like to show you of all the mowers that I've collected over the course of a couple months. Found all of them on the side of the road. Unfortunately I wasn't able to videotape each one when I picked them up, so I was just collecting them and put it to the side of the house until I get a chance to work on them. More specifically, we're going to look at this one. I found this one the most recent time here, maybe about a couple weeks ago. You might have seen this from the previous video when I was working on the pressure washer, and we're going to discuss more about this here mower. So I pulled the cord already, and it has compression and has spark, but it won't start up. So let's get you set up here and see what we can do to get this one back up and running. Alright, I'm gonna go get some go-go juice and throw some in the carb here and see if it'll lick off. Alright, you know what to do. Go ahead, take the carb off and look inside to see what's wrong with it. Alright, so there are 4 screws holding the air cleaner base here, 2 of which are 5/16. Take these 2 out. And then the other 2 screws are 9/32. And they're coarse thread because they mount directly to the carb. And you just slide this out. There should be a breather hose in the back. You just pry it off like so, and that exposes the carb. Now when I found this mower, it didn't come with the front cover and the filter assembly. So it might have seemed like someone was trying to work on it before and was unsuccessful of fixing it. So they rather just throw it to the side and just get a new one. So anyways, next up is taking the fuel line off. It's on the side here. I believe there was still some more. There's still fuel in the tank. So what I do is I tip it over to the side, like so, and put something underneath the mower. That way it'll keep it up and not spill fuel all over the place. Take this line out. Actually, better yet, just pull this out, just like so. The hose is pretty tough on there. There you go. Yeah, fuel's gonna come out either way. I don't mind it because it needs to be cleaned out anyways. It actually had some water in it, so I always like to start with a fresh tank of gas anyways. Take the linkages out like so. And here's the carb. Alright, let's take her apart. All right. So these two screws are, I believe, are 9/32 as well. Yep. And sometimes you'll need a screwdriver to pry this open. Because it's sealed pretty tight with an O-ring. So you find a good spot. There you go, just like that. Get it between the flats here and pop it up here. Pretty clean. The field didn't look too dirty, but it's been sitting on what it looks like. Inside looks pretty clean. So might be only was filled with water. And this choke doesn't seem like they like to close all the way. Oh, there you go. All right, so that works. Let's take this out. Quite simple. Put the screwdriver underneath here, pry it up some, and it pops right out just like that. Let's go and check all the orifices. That's very clean, that's clean. This doesn't look all that clean. Let me clean it real quick. That's better. And we're going to take the float out, take the needle and seat. Just like that. Huh. Where? Ah, dropped it. There it is. That looks good. It blows through just fine. So more than likely, it might have just have water in the fuel, causing it not to run. Simple enough, because everything else in this carb is quite clean. So that's awesome. Now we can put it back together. And this is a very easy carb to work on. And as I'm dropping everything onto the towel, this is a very simple carb to clean up and maintain, but at the same time is cheaply made because it's plastic, and that causes issues here and there. Sometimes it's just better off to just purchasing yourself a new one, since they're quite cheap. But free is always better than spending a little bit of money. So there you go. Got it back in this hole. Snaps right in. Make sure it doesn't leak through when I blow through the tube. It doesn't, and it can go through as the float goes down. It does, so that's good. You can go ahead and put this piece back on. Must be in the right direction, so I believe it's this way. And you can tell because it can only go in one way. So, oh, I might be wrong again. Let's see. Yep, no, this is right. It's just very tight fit. Sometimes you might have to push it on the ground here like this. It's not the other way for sure. Wow. Doesn't really want to go in. Let me check back. Alright, so I found the problem why this white piece here, the nozzles will not go in. Apparently inside there's the venturi, and it was pushed out ever so slightly. As you can tell, see it has a gap inside right there. So you just push it in, get it seated back in there, and that way it shows the clear passage through the middle hole right there. It's kind of hard to focus, but what you see, all right there, this hole in the middle. That one needs to be completely clear, and in order for that to happen, that venturi cup that's inside of the car needs to be fully seated. So with that being said, it just snaps into place just like that, and the little nozzle is protruding out. So good, figure that out. Now you put the bowl back in, cleaned up pretty nicely, and I believe it can only go in one way, so just get it in there. Actually make sure this will also dance around with you, so make sure it's nice and even. There we go. Get the holes lined up, and you can tell if it's on the correct way as long as the two are touching each other at both faces, so it's nice and seated. Now you can put the two screws back on and tighten them. And you don't want to be too tight because it is plastic, so just a couple of hits, very light hits, just like that. It doesn't even need to be more than hand tight. So that's it. Let's put it back on the mower. Alright, so I got all the linkages and everything hooked up. I already drained the tank and already actually put fresh fuel in it. So we got that. So we're gonna go ahead and put the car back in. There's a couple slots you gotta follow through. And you just push it right in the hole. Just like that. Make sure that the guides, there's one guide that keeps the carb straight. Make sure the linkages all operate as normal, and they do. So everything's hooked up as it should. And put this clamp back on. Just like that. And we put the 4 screws back on with the air cleaner base cover. Now I need to be able to source an actual filter and top base, the actual cover. So go ahead and get this back together. It's kind of tricky. So you line them up with the guides again. There should be 2. And as you push it in, all the holes should line up. So the 2 machine screws goes on the outside. That's with the 5/16. Since they go through the metal bracket, they use the actual sheet metal screws, the machine screws, sorry. And the two regular coarse thread screws goes to the plastic. It goes on the actual carb itself. So put those back on. And you tighten them all up. I'll tighten these two first. And then the two 5/16 bolts. Don't have to be tight because they're plastic. Just tight enough. Alright, so everything's back together. Fuel is been refilled. I don't see any leaks coming out of the carb. This is an auto choke system, so within a couple pulls it should start and stay running. Let's find out. There you go. It runs. Sounds very healthy. So sad that something as simple as it could be potentially just water in the fuel causes a person to just throw out their mower. It doesn't look all that old either. So crazy. Alright. Now she runs. Gotta find a cover for it. But it's all good. Awesome. Alright guys, we'll end the video here for this particular mower. Next up, we're going to go ahead and try to start all of these that's been sitting in the backyard. Alright. Alright, so might as well go ahead and videotape them all. As we all know, we know this one runs already. Runs great, and we also know from this pressure washer right there, that one runs pretty good too. I already got a new filter for it, so it's ready to rock and roll. So let's start with this one. Now I found this one here from a homeowner and stated that she actually took it to the lawnmower shop and had it repaired for carb work. And now it doesn't run anymore. So let's check for oil. It's clean and it's full. Actually, it looks overfilled, but it's probably because I just moved it around. So how it looks on fuel, got a little bit, not much. Smells like it has water in it. Usually that's how it goes because they leave their mowers outside. I leave my mowers outside too, but at least I have a cover for it. So I put a nice big tarp. So let's just pull it and see what it does. Alright, it's not going to start, obviously. So let's put that to the side and look on the next mower. Now this one, similar story. Another woman gave me this one. Found this one on the side of the road. Again, the oil looks good. She also stated that she had work done on this mower, but it was maybe 2 years ago, and she left inside of her garage. So, and it's been sitting and sitting, and she hired a lawn service. So there goes that. Now the tank is dry on this one, so this one will probably won't even start even if I was able to try it. So let's get some fuel and just dump some fuel in there. Give it a couple seconds, if it even matter. Let's pull this one, see what we got. Nice. That one does run. Good. Alright. So this one will be in the line of just typical service. Oil does look clean, so probably don't even have to touch that. But it's a good runner already. I haven't even tested the self-propel yet on it. Let me start it up one more time and see if the actual self-propel actually works. Indeed it does. Awesome. So this is a good one. All right. So we'll put this one to the side for maintenance. This one I do know it runs. This is the oldest one in the fleet in terms of fighting stuff. I found this 2 months ago. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to record what I have done to this one, and this one could be a more of a major video. Could have been, but oh well. This one had a blown head gasket, so I had to actually order a new head gasket, take the head off, lap the valves, new spark plug, carb clean, air cleaner, the whole schmeal. And I know this one runs because I used this yesterday. But since I am here, might as well videotape this one running too. So. A lizard always coming out when I try to work on these mowers. Oh, shoot. Oh. Anyways, no surprise here. This one's ready to go. Did a full service on this one, so it's a good mower. I'm surprised they threw it out, but again, I can understand throwing a head gasket on it. Take it to a lawnmower shop, they'll just laugh at you. or they'll just charge you an arm and a leg. Lastly, this one. Now this one's been around about 4 years. I found this one a real long time ago. This one actually had a blown engine, so I used the engine from another mower a while back with a broken deck. Put it together and it ran great, and it served us very well for 4 years until I gifted my girlfriend's mother a brand new mower, so that way she don't have to worry about anything. It has a Honda, so she never has to worry about it. So with this one here, it is going to be retired soon and probably be given away to someone who needs it because it has some age on her. But it's been kept up very well. So I don't know if it runs because I haven't touched it in about 3 months, I believe. About 3 months I haven't touched it. So will it run? I don't know. It's been sitting. See if there's even gas you can begin with. There's a little bit of fuel in it. How about for oil? Yeah, needs an oil change. I usually change it every season, basically every year. So let's see if this runs. Gotta love a Briggs. Started up. It was a little hesitant while I was trying to run. It was cold, obviously. I haven't been ran in a while, but it seems like it was clearing up. So not bad. So yes, 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 and a no. So let's take this one apart and see what's wrong with it and see if we can get it to run just like the rest of the fleet here. Alright, let's figure out why this one doesn't want to run. Filter looks okay. Could use a replacement soon. I'll probably get a new filter for it. Inside of the carb looks clean, the throat wise, but that won't mean much. So let's take this cover off. The cover is a 10mm. It's 2 nuts and 1 bolt. So this is the old style choking system from Kohler, and they are temperamental from the ones I messed with. So they changed out to the new design, and as you can tell, the new design is much better because the one that I showed you that was right next to this one started right up. So there's a little spacer that came off that. Okay, I'll put this to the side, and you can see this really weird contraption here. It's like they tried way too hard to make it convenient for the homeowner or customer, or the consumer, if you will, by adding this intricate choking system. Goes from the rod, from the exhaust, thermal heating element there that turns the clock spring, which supposedly pushes this, and as it pushes this, it opens the choke up. Obviously that works, so that's good. But when it is cold and it needs to warm up, the throttle moves, but it doesn't move the choke like your conventional Briggs or other, or even a newer style Kohlers. So they use a vacuum diaphragm here, and then once it senses the engine is running, it's connected to the manifold through this line, and it pulls it pulls the choke open, just like so. And once it stops running, if it's still cold, it re-chokes, it backs up. So let's take the carb off, and it should slide right out. Unfortunately, this is the worst design, because in order to take this carb out, you'll have to take this whole element out, and they all have to come out as an assembly, or you risk damaging all these parts. So you have to come over here and take this off, and in order to take this off, you need a 10mm wrench. Take this nut off and take this nut off here. So let me go get a wrench and take those two nuts off. All right, 10mm wrench. One goes here. Gonna have to find a good spot for it to grab and just turn. Hopefully it'll be just loose, just like mine. Surprisingly, it is rather loose, but sometimes it won't be as loose like that. Take the other one off like so. And it comes up like that. Now, those who are wondering, how come I didn't check for compression or I didn't check for spark and I just jumped right into the carb? Well, when I found this, I did try to see if it'll run, and it does run while spraying the go-go juice, knowing that it'll be a carb issue. But since I didn't have much time at that moment to work on things, I just put it to the side. So I do remember that this has a fuel related issue. So anyways, once this is out of the way, able to take it off, you just manipulate it out of the way just like that. That way the carb can come off as one big assembly. So we take this line off here. And this is a very soft line, so there is a potential of it breaking on me. Don't want to, but if it has to, it is. Then we'll just replace it. Get a screwdriver, pry underneath here. Walk it off. And there it is. It smells very watery. Alright, we'll definitely have to drain this one off. Okay. Hold the carb like this. Pop the linkage off. It just comes straight up. Put it aside. Then the whole assembly with the thermal element comes out. Crazy, isn't it? How you have to take everything out just to take this carb out. So there it is. All right, let's take the bowl off and see what it looks like. All right, so we got it all set here. I don't like messing with this linkage here, this whole system right here, because I messed with one before and I made a mistake. trying to disassemble this whole thing, and I ended up damaging the internal spring, and I even damaged a little arm that actuates the choke because it is very finicky. So this time around, I'm not gonna mess with it. I'm just gonna deal with it. So anyways, and this is the intake manifold I was talking about. Well, it's integral with the carb. If I say intake manifold, I'm sorry about that, but the carb itself actually has a little hose. This little port comes through the throat of the carb here and provides vacuum to actuate this vacuum assisted choke here, and pulls it once the engine starts, and until this becomes warm enough to keep it open, then it will keep it open. So anyways, the first problem I'm already seeing is the inlet tube here. You see there's some gunk on the bottom, so definitely gotta clean that. Anyways, 10 millimeter. This comes out. It's basically similar carb like you see on the Hondas and their clones, Predator, LCT, things like that. They kind of all copy each other now, even the newer Briggs. So, surprisingly clean. I mean, has a little rust stain on the bottom, which indicated that there was some water sitting. So we'll clean that up. Well, another issue is that the float itself is stuck. It's stuck, like really stuck, which also indicated a water contaminant issue. So pull that pin out that holds the float in place, and as you can see, it is really gummed up in there. I don't know if you guys can see it very well. Yeah, look at that. So let's see if I can actually get it to walk it off here. My guess will be a no. Let's see if we can use a screwdriver. It's pretty bad. Wow. Spray some carb spray in here. Maybe that will help loosen it up a little bit, and throw some in here as well. See if we can manipulate and get this needle seat out. It wants to come out. Not yet. Using the pliers and reach down in there into the tit. Oh, great. Well, that's broken. Got the float out at least, but the tip of the needle is broke off. Oh no. Well, things like this do happen. Not every carb was going to be a breeze and simple to clean. So let me figure something out here. Alright, so it's sprayed a good bit, and see, it's pretty mangled up. So I use a pair of dikes here, give it a good grab, twist it a little bit, And there you go. Got it out. Oh man, that does not look good. This looks even worse. Well, I don't know if you guys already seen this or not. Focus. There you go. Looks pretty bad. So this is junk. Definitely got to clean this. But before we go any further, let's see if we can find a needle. And I think I know where I can find one. I can't guarantee if it works or not, but it's worth a shot. Alright, so I found this a while back as well. About to make a video about it actually. But I found this at the side of the road. And this happens to be an home light pressure washer. Got it from a guy who stated that the pump is dead, but the motor does still run. So it looks kind of like a clone of a Kohler actually, and a carb looks similar, not the same but similar. Let's take this carb out real quick and let's do a further investigation, see if we can scrounge some parts from it, because these pressure washers are actually kind of cheap. And I figured if he's right, the pressure washer pump may be dead. I mean, you got the engine to use for parts. Also, I really just got it for the nice hose and wand, because that basically exceeded the value of the pressure washer if I were even think about selling it or even keeping it for myself. So let's take this carb off. Uses the same 10mm. Alright, take this out, put it to the side. And yeah, it looks quite similar. So let me take this out completely and let's go back. Okay, got the carb off the pressure washer, the junk one. It even has the same make. Is Ru Ying, so I believe it's Chinese. It says Kohler here, but on the top it's also said by Ru Ying. Ru Ying, if I say it right, to people from Asia and China, I apologize if I say it incorrectly, but they make a lot of these Chinese copy carbs for Hondas, Kohlers, and their Chinese counterparts. And as a matter of fact, add an insult to injury, it even fits. So theoretically, I could even use this carb if I really wanted to, but it won't have any of the amenities for the auto choke. If it was for my personal mower, if I were to keep this would be the route to go. I'll just throw it all back together and fabricate a choke cable of some sort, and don't have to mess with this auto choke mess. But I do want to make it work like as if it was factory. So theoretically, if everything else fits and everything like that, it looks the same. If I open this bowl up, it should have the needle that I need to fix the carb that has a damaged needle. So apparently there was some fuel in it. It smells pretty bad. It's been sitting according to the homeowner. I haven't opened this up yet, so this will be a first time for me, as long as you got it with you guys as well. Let's see what it looks like inside. Not terrible. Not terrible. Definitely had water presence, but I've seen much worse. The float system looks much better. Much better. Oh, look at that. It slides right off. And the needle system looks pretty much identical. Same brass, same spring, even uses the same float, and yeah, looks identical actually. That's a good sign. Just clean this off. All I gotta do now is get a Q-tip, clean the bore of this so it won't be stuck again, because I will hate to have this new part get stuck on this carb again. So let's get a Q-tip, clean around here, make it look good, clean the fuel inlet, and put it together. Not bad. Alright, it's all cleaned up. Works great. Got some nice springy action going on. When it's upside down, fuel doesn't allow to flow. And once it's right side up, fuel flows, which means everything looks good from here. So this carb is gonna work. Now, I'm kind of indecisive if I should use the shallow bowl or the deep bowl. I guess I'll just put back what it was there originally and leave the pressure washer carb on the side. Clean this bowl up real quick. Much better. And it's back together. I would clock the drain bowl towards the outside for easy access. But everything's back together, carb wise, so let's put it back on the mower. Straightforward. Put it right back in its place while holding this contraption. Get it to line up properly. Just like that. Lock this one back to its resting spot. There we go. And put the linkage back on. Very simple. Alright, then we put the two 10mm nuts back in with the wrench. Put everything back together here. Drain the fuel out, or water, whatever it is in here that causes that in the first place. Put it back all together, put some fresh fuel in it, see if we run. I just collected the last bit of fuel out of that line and it was all cruddy. So that means I have to put some fresh fuel in it, blow it through one more time to flush the rest of the line out, and then put it back together. Gross. Alright, so everything's back together. Fresh fuel has been added. Without further ado, as if it has a sticky choke. That further explains how I feel about this choking system. I came across a couple of them like that where the choke just doesn't want to play nice. Let's see if maybe the filter could be slightly clogged. So I took the filter out. Let's see if it'll improve. Alright, so I readjusted the choking system. It won't allow it to completely open up. So a couple bends on the linkages here and there. Let's see what we got. Better. I may have to change the spark plug on it because it has an occasional little roughness to it. So let me change out the spark plug real quick. Now this spark plug is weird on this Kohler example. They don't use a conventional spark plug like a 3/4, 13/16, any of those generic sizes. It's a metric 18mm. This one has one of the weirdest spark plugs applications because it's not your generic spark plug. So usually has its own Kohler branded spark plug as well. Usually they go out. But this one here is an NGK, and get you a look at that. Alright, so if you get to see the spark plug, let me put you away from the light. As you can see, it's pretty black. Shows an over-rich condition. And the electrode doesn't look all that great either. And as you can see, the threads, the thread style and how the spark plug is constructed, here's compared next to a generic spark plug that we use a lot. This one came from a Honda. It's also used in a lot of the Chinese engines as well. As you can see, it's fatter. So we gotta find a spark plug like this and put it in the machine and see if it'll improve. Alright, so I don't have that spark plug. I may have to go and buy one. But I do have another Kohler that we just showed earlier that was running beautifully. So let's compare the spark plug that came off the not running or not good running Kohler that we just repaired versus the one that was running. You can tell already that the electrodes shows a big difference. So I'm sure if I close the gap on this one, it'll work, but for how long, I don't know. Plus, it doesn't look all that great. So I'll go ahead and buy a new set of spark plugs. I don't know if I'll use NGK again, even though NGK is one of the best spark plugs to use. Kohler branded plugs are usually the one that fail quite frequently. I have to change them out, but the replacement I've been using was Champion, and they usually work really well. So let's throw this spark plug on this machine and see if it'll improve. Okay, got the spark plug back on from the other Kohler. As a matter of fact, this one right next to it. Let's see if it'll improve. Guess it'll be as good as it's gonna get. As long as you put it under a load, I'm sure it'll run even better. As a matter of fact, I got a little strip of grass right here. Let's put a load on it and see if it'll work itself out. Well guys, looks like the video is about to be wrapped up here. Thank you for hanging out with me and fixing broken machines and bringing them back to life. Now all of them do run, and they all run rather well, and they're able to cut another season. And at this point, I'm going to sign off. Thank you for watching.